Welcome back, everyone. This is scrap metal, or is it? So regular viewers will have seen me battle this in 2 videos, trying to get this seat post out here. We've ripped it in half with 3 tons of pressure. We've tried to dissolve it with gallium. We've done all sorts. Failed miserably. However, this handlebar stem is probably more stuck than this, if that's possible. So even if I could get this out, this bike is still pretty much unusable. You can still use it, I guess, but really you want to be able to get this out to serve as a headset, adjust the height, etc, etc. So a big difference here, this is galvanic corrosion, aluminium and steel. This is steel, steel and steel, all rusted together. So there's different techniques. And I've got an experiment I've always wanted to try, and that's what this video is about. So when I did the video with the seat post, when I found that stem was stuck, I gave it a real good soak in a PB blaster in there for a day or so. Massive hammer, massive punch from the bottom of there. It ain't going anywhere, guys, trust me. You can use this, you can use plus gas, WD-40, etc, etc. You'll mention Quill. We're in the UK, guys, you can't get Quill here. Well, you can, but it's $40 odd a tin. That's not happening. This is the best we can get, and that's not done the job either. So, pretty much the whole of the internet says this is the best thing since sliced bread. A 50-50 mix of acetone and automatic transmission fluid. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix this up, going to leave it soaking 2 or 3 days, and then come back to it. Let's go. It smells good. Let's just chuck it in here. I was going to mix it up in another one, but we'll just chuck it in here, won't we? Let's go to 200. There you go. And if this does work, it's cheap and easy. A litre of that and a litre of that is significantly less than $40 for Quill, so hope it works. Alright, let's get it in there. So just to show you what's going on inside, this is obviously a different bike, but it's the same idea. This is an old-fashioned Quill stem. Not like your threadless systems you get since pretty much 90s really, so it is older tech, but it does still appear on cheap bikes these days. So there's a big bolt basically goes in here, and then the stem will come out. You can see corrosion here, and the part that's seized is this piece here. So this is cast on the GT. This is obviously steel, this is steel, it's probably got no paint on there, and the fork that it actually goes into and wedges in is also steel, untreated as well. So you've got 3 pieces of steel here, all rusting together lovely over the last 30 years into one solid lump. So I've took the bolt out of there, so when you put the fluid in, it will go through the hole in there and it will cover both sides of there and just soak basically. Like I say, I've already put PB blaster in that one. I've already used a massive punch on the bottom and a big hammer. It doesn't move anywhere at all, guys. It's completely seized solid. So we'll get this fluid in there and we'll see what it does, and hopefully we get it out again. Not the easiest thing to seal up. I've got a cork in here, and there's also another small hole that goes this way that I've corked up as well. So I'll pour the fluid in from the bottom. Obviously with the expander bolt out, you can basically go and fill the whole system really. So we'll fill that up and let it soak. I might have a wet floor in a minute. So far so good. I think that's holding it. All right, let's put the rest in. Guessing it's full. Okay, it's full. We'll see if I can get a cork in here as well, but there's 2 holes here for the brake boss, which is going to make life a bit more challenging. So that seems to be holding fluid now, so I'll leave this to soak. I've got 3 days before I can get back to this. And then, yeah, I've got a plan, don't worry. I'm pretty confident this will come out. So I think it's about 4 or 5 days later now. I'll take this plug out and see what... I think it's still in there, to be honest. There you go, it's all in there. Then just brace the wheel between your legs and twist the bars, and obviously all you can do there is twist the wheel and nothing's going to come loose. So I've got a plan B. I knew that wasn't going to work. So you get these mounts that you put on your van or whatever, you just clamp the front of the fork in there. So I've got one of those, clamped it in the vise. This is made of metal as well. Clamp that in the vise, so I'm going to put the fork in there, lock that in there, and then you can get some real leverage on it. Well, that's the plan anyway. Like that. And now I can give all the leverage in the world on these bars. And hopefully nothing moves at the other end. That's the plan. Wow, that's so tight still. Right, more leverage, that's always the answer. Something's going to break, that's for sure. I think it'll just pop out the vise actually. I don't think that's going to hold it. I'm going to break that bracket. 100% going to break this. 100%. Something moved, I think. Yes. Success. Keep going. Obviously I've took the bolt out before you all say. Success. So stem's out. It's actually in better condition than I thought it was, to be honest. Obviously the wedge is still stuck here, but I can actually get this fork out now, clamp on the actual steerer tube there and get a bit more vicious with it. So I'll just quickly whip this out. That's paint. And then attack that bit. This is an old-fashioned headset for people who are not familiar with them. They used to thread them on. All threadless now, pretty much. Except on very cheap bikes where you still see these occasionally. Totally fine. Years of life left in that bearing. There you go. So this actually worked pretty well. Thought it would. Probably be better with a nut and bolt, really, to be honest, but I think this was the bit that was going to fail more than anything else. This was holding on pretty well, but this was flexing a lot. So a quick pause just before we continue to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. There's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a job, only for everything to come to a grinding halt because your part you ordered said it was in stock, it wasn't in stock. Very often, not even in the same country. .co.uk doesn't always mean the UK, trust me, I know. That's exactly why I use Sport and Leisure. So they're based right here in the UK, their stock levels are 100% live, says it's on the shelf, it genuinely is on the shelf. Get your order in before 3 PM and it's dispatched the very same day with free UK delivery on all orders. Plus next day delivery is only £2.50, which is brilliant. Well, you just need to crack on with the job. So they've also updated the channel discount scheme for you. Head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen and it will generate a 10% discount at checkout off your first order. Definitely buying parts anyway. It's an easy way to save a bit of cash. So the link's in the description below. A massive thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Alright, let's continue with this mission. So that's clamped in there nicely. So the actual wedge itself is in here now. I need to try and get that out now as well. So obviously that's been soaking at the same time as everything else, so hopefully it should move. So the plan to get the wedge out, I'm going to go from the bottom because that's the flat end, the other one's tapered, make it a lot more difficult. Put it in the fork clamp, clamped in the vise. If anything, it's sort of going to hit the fork, going to end up hitting this. It might chip the paint, but I don't think that's really a major concern on this fork. So I'm going to put a socket in there that's a good fit against the bottom of that. Impact bit there, and then air hammer. Let's see what happens with this. Hopefully, it just drives it straight out. Let's go. Not moved, not in the slightest. Fire. I'm officially burning my part tool now, which I don't want to do. So I don't want to damage this part tool because I'm not convinced these are actually metal and I don't want to melt that. So I'm going to heat the outside of the steerer and then put some freezy blast on the actual wedge itself and go once more with the air hammer. If not, I think I'll stay in there forever. Obviously we're going to lose all this paint, but hey. Bye paint. (350 degrees C). I think we can all agree that's quite warm now. So I've got a freezer spray down the middle of that to cool the wedge down, hopefully. Not touching the side. Oh, give us another blast. Well, she's out. It is. Today's lesson, heat is always the answer. No debate on that one. Good stuff. Guess what? It's aluminium. So that was galvanic corrosion that was holding that in there, not actually rust. So did the ATF acetone work? Who knows? I mean, I've got them out, so proof of concept, I kind of guess it worked. But ultimately that was galvanic corrosion holding that in there, the same as the seat post. And boy, it had a good hold on that, but heat, always the answer. However, might need a lick of paint. I remind you, this bike is scrap, it is mine. Just going to quickly blast through this seat post. I'm not going to bore you to death again. All I'm going to do is ream it out using the adjustable reamers, chop the top bit off and just blast through these with a drill. These are only very, very cheap Chinese reamers. Just don't go backwards, otherwise you get told off by a million people in the comments. Just take your time, and then eventually you have to go to the hand one because it won't fit in the drill. Keep going, and then eventually it'll get so thin, it basically just grabs hold of what's left in there and rips it out like that. And that's it basically. Success. So that's the remains of that reamed out there. A pretty effective method, to be fair. I think it was about 40 minutes all in. Not too bad at all. Does make a bit of a mess, but it gets it out. Eventually it gets this thin, it literally just rips it straight out in one piece like this, pretty much. And inside the sheet tube, just needs a quick clean up, and she's ready to go, basically. So that's the way I'm going with that. If my pulling machine doesn't get it out, use adjustable reamers, and it gets it out without too much difficulty, really. But yeah, that's the galvanic corrosion that you can see that was holding it in with the force of, oh, I don't know, something very forceful. Good luck getting that out with any conventional techniques. Anyway, she's out. So got the stem out, got the seat post out. So what now? I was thinking maybe I should make a bike again. Here she is, fully functioning, ready to live another 35 years. She's not going to win any beauty prizes, that's for sure, but it's alive. This moves, and it's ready to roll. So don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.